The Miami Dolphins got their second win of the season and are one game below 500. But is this just a temporary band-aid that's delaying the inevitable changes that need to be made to this organization? Or is there a real chance for the Miami Dolphins to go into their week and take the bye and turn everything around? We will talk about all of that plus more. I'll give my takeaways from the game. We'll talk about McDaniel's post-game press availability, and we are going to have even more injury updates to give you because when it rains, it pours. So smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jaelan has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's going to open a touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one as the Miami Dolphins. Hallelujah. They won on the road against a divisional team today. And we got a couple things to talk about because there's some real questions that need to be asked. All right? Real questions. And not all negative, might I add you. Not all negative by any stretch of the imagination. Don't get me wrong. So we're going to talk about it as you come through. Do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and you know what? We're going to get through your little lull from decompressing after the Dolphins win. Hope you spend some time with your family, and then watch the little afternoon ball. And then now, between the start of Sunday Night Football and the end of the 4 o'clock games, we're going to talk some Miami Dolphins football, and we got a little bit to go over. All right? Number one, because I see it in the chat right now. Josh Allen. Listen, have we all seen the hit by now? We've all seen the hit by now. Remember when I was live, we talked about it near the end of the game. Josh Allen, how did that man escape concussion protocol? Can someone explain to me how you don't even got to use Tua? Let's not even use Tua as an example. Teddy Bridgewater against the Jets a couple years ago, the spotter sees something that never happened, and he gets pulled from the game because of concussion protocol, and Skylar Thompson's in. Where's the spotter on that? Where is the spotter on the Josh Allen concussion? Please, someone tell me. And if you remember, Josh Allen had a questionable hit last week where it looked like he might have got his bell rung. Go back last week. Go look. And he had a hit last week where he got his bell rung, it looked like, and they passed it off. See, I'm just saying. There's 2 potential concussions in back-to-back weeks for Josh Allen, and today was far more blatantly obvious. They literally gave him some smelling salts, patted him on the butt, and said, "Get in there, kid." Because certain people get more benefit of the doubt. 2 weeks in a row. Am I going to have to start a movement based off of how they treat Tua, where we're going to need people to review game? Are we going to need spotters to review game film night? I'm just saying. Are we going to? Because let's be fair here. This is 2 weeks in a row where it looks like this guy got his bell rung, and we all know what 2 concussions in the span of a week can do to a player. I'm just saying. Now, I know AVG had the big play today, interception, etc., etc. I want to speak further on this AVG thing. Listen, did Greer take part in missing out on that? Sure, 110%. Now I'm privy to some knowledge that I've been passed along my way recently that would not make fans happy, but I won't get into that. What I will say is this. I know for a fact Fangio loved that guy. I know for a fact AVG was a priority to them when Fangio was here in terms of getting a contract done. What's crazy is, and where I think no one's putting proper blame, Anthony Weaver deserves a little blame for this, guys and gals. Let's not absolve Anthony Weaver, okay? Fangio was here. He loved AVG. Remember, he sat AVG down and told him to stay here for another year. Fangio was here. He would have been pushing for them to sign him. And here's another problem with Grier. This is why Grier gets some blame. What does Grier do? Right? Doesn't have big enough cojones. He will never step in and say, you know what? That's my guy. I'm going to make sure and take care of him. You got to make sure and find a way to work. You got to find a way to make it work. But he'll go to bat for Liam Eichenberg, and he'll go to bat for these type of jabronis. But with AVG, I'm telling you, don't absolve Anthony Weaver. And I got nothing but positive things to say about Anthony Weaver since he came here. But don't think Anthony Weaver didn't have a say in that personnel decision. If Anthony Weaver said, hey, I need AVG, I can see him being a part of the big intricate part of this defense, Grier would have made an effort to re-sign him. And I know they made no effort to re-sign him at all. So they went from viewing him as a priority all year under Fangio. The defensive coordinator gets switched up and AVG doesn't even get an offer. That smells like some coaching input. All right? So I want people, listen, Grier went along with that decision. Grier didn't step in. It's the same thing as I always go back. Before we traded that pick back to Green Bay in the 2020 draft, okay, before we traded back and selected Noah Benogany, we were originally going to take DeAndre Swift. And then something happened in between the trade back to the actual selection where it went from DeAndre Swift into Noah Benogany. Now, we know exactly what happened. Flores got his in his ear and chirp, 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 chirp. Don't think for a minute that Anthony Weaver did not have a say on that personnel decision. Okay? I listen, Grier is complicit because he went along with it. I am not absolving Grier, but do not think Weaver didn't have a say in that personnel decision. Don't think for a second Weaver wasn't the one that wanted Shaq Barrett. I'm just saying. Just saying. I've been privy to some stuff recently, made privy to some stuff recently, trust me. Okay? Now, where we're at with this game here. I got some things to say. First of all, where the hell was this Jacoby Brissett when he was in Miami? This guy's out here shedding tackles in the pocket, moving off his spot, making throws while he's shedding tackles in the pocket. I mean, running for first downs. Someone tell me where this Jacoby Brissett was in Miami. All right? Someone tell me where this guy was. Holy jeez. If we would have got even a half of that guy in Miami, they probably would have never moved off of him as the backup. Right? Remember, I was the one. Now, no other platforms use it, but I was the one that coined the phrase jabroni brisket. That's how bad this guy was. He was a jabroni. He looked cooked every time he was out there. And now look at this guy making plays against our defense. What the hell? Anyways, that's another story for another day. It's not like he lit us up, right? He only finished with, a couple hundred, not much. He finished with about 160 yards passing, and a lot of that came in that final frame when we were playing soft coverage. So, but he's making plays and extending drives before that. Like, what the hell is this? Knight says, I always assumed it was a money issue. Gink got a 2-year, $20 million, where Shaq deal was really 4 years, $9 million. Listen, maybe I'll have a Patreon update one day and tell you what I know, but yeah, they didn't even make an offer to him, bro. I know that for a fact. And yet all year they're telling him he's a priority. So, and then what happened? the DC switched up. I'm telling you. They're telling him, I'm your priority with Fangio there. Fangio leaves, Weaver comes in, all of a sudden you're not a priority. All right. And, in the same breath, look what Flores is doing with him. Who knows if he would have got those type of opportunities under Weaver, let alone would he have been asked to do the same exact stuff. So, I'm just saying. Anyways, continue with my observations. I thought Huntley looked a lot better in his second week. He still missed some easy throws. There were a couple of out routes that he missed, or sideline throws outside the numbers. So, it is what it is. He's getting a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, we saw Tyreek and Waddle involved a little bit. So Huntley looked better, looked comfortable. I got to go back and watch the film and look at the motion and see if they reared back the motion a little bit. I haven't watched it yet. So when I watch the All-22 or when I go back and watch the game, I'll really pay more tonight. I'll pay more attention to that motion and see how much they really reared it back. The offensive line, up and down once again. Austin Jackson was probably the worst with the sack allowed and that key hold to negate the 33-yard right run. But also, if it wasn't for that touchdown drive where Liam had a few key blocks on that drive, I would have sat here and said Liam had an awful day. Brewer struggled a little bit at times today. There were some real struggles on that offensive line today. But in the same breath, I must say, that touchdown drive. No, Tua's not back for the Colts game. Tua would be back for the Cardinals game. On that touchdown drive, that's your blueprint, Mike. Wright, HN, and Ingold were phenomenal. They all deserve game balls off of that drive alone. That was your blueprint, Mike. You want to know how you're going to keep winning? And you want to know how you're going to win even with Tua back in these December and January months? That drive was it, Mike. I mean, the running was, the blocking and the backs were so good that they overcame that hold from Austin Jackson, which I wanted to tear my that 35-yard run. I wanted to, pull my hair out because, that was Julian Hill. I apologize. Julian Hill negated that, and he keeps negatively impacting his team with penalties and misassignments. Julian Hill had the third most penalties by a player in the league with 6 penalties prior to today's game. Austin Jackson took the hold. Remember, Austin Jackson, what was it, a hold or he took a penalty? Austin Jackson took a penalty on the missed field goal where it got pushed back. The botched snap. I apologize. The botched snapped field goal. Right? He took a false start. He took a 5-yard false start penalty on 4th and 10 while Sanders hit the field goal, and Austin Jackson negates a field goal. Then you got Julian Hill out here negating a 35-yard run. I mean, this team's doing themselves no favors continuously. But, Mike, they gave you the blueprint. They gave him the blueprint. I mean, and Julian Hill, I've been saying this all season. I said it last year. I didn't see what the big deal about this guy was. Omar would come up here weekly, every 4 weeks and tell me, oh, they like him. Oh, they like him. Oh, they're high on him. What are we getting back from Julian Hill? Julian Hill has done nothing but negatively impact this team. You let the guy walk in Elijah Higgins. I mean, where's all these people preseason? Where's this Tanner Connor hype at, huh? Everyone hyping up Tanner Connor like this guy was going to be the second coming of Travis Kelce. Where's Tanner Connor at right now? You could combine Tanner Connor and Julian Hill right now, and you don't even get a half of what Elijah Higgins is doing in Arizona. Like, what's going on right now? For real. Like, Miss me with that. Julian Hill's a liability, and Tanner Connor is. They don't even play the guy. What's the point of having Tanner Connor active if you're not even going to use the guy? What's the point? Tell me. It's ridiculous. Jonnu Smith is far and away the best tight end we have right now. It's not even close. Jonnu had a big game, and that was his best game as a Dolphin. Still way too many points left on the board, right? Jackson causing us to botch, well, not causing, but Austin Jackson taking a false start on a 4th and 10 that Sanders hits the field goal off of. Then they got to retake it. Blake Ferguson botches a snap. Whole play's botched, so there's 3 points. Missed field goal, 3 points. Like, look at the swings. You gave him the points off the block punt, too. Then you also had the fumble. Remember, like, you also had a fumble. Right? That took us out of field goal range. You left 9 points at least, minimum, on the board. Like, a team that can't afford this kind of stuff. Right? 3rd and 3 from the New England 25. You get a bad snap from Aaron Brewer because Huntley ain't ready. And then if you go listen to McDaniel, McDaniel said Brewer thought he heard the cadence. And so he snapped the ball. And you lose 22 yards. You go from 3rd and 3 on the 25 to 4th and 25 on the 47. 3 points left on the board. Austin Jackson false start on a good field goal attempt leads to a botched snap. 3 points on the board. You miss a field goal earlier in the game. 3 points on the board. The Miami Dolphins should have won 24-10 today. The Miami Dolphins should have ran away comfortably with the W today. Instead, they continue offensively to shoot themselves in the foot. That's where we're at right now. And please, someone tell me how Danny Crossman has a job. How many years are we going to go through this inept special teams unit? Since 2022, the Dolphins ranked 25th in yards per punt, 12th in opponent's yards per punt, 26th in yards per kick return, 32nd in opponent yards per kick return. They ranked 16th in yards per punt return, 28th in opponent yards per punt return. They're 28th in field goal percentage. They're tied for 2nd in field goals blocked. And 12 of, and this is from Marcel, 12 of Miami's 44 penalties this season have been committed on special teams. And that was at halftime. Look at Duke Riley. He continues to make special teams blunders. He made another one today. Duke Riley's making bad plays. Listen, I know he didn't get the sacks, but I think this was actually the best game from Chop so far. Listen, he still needs to be better and show a more versatile pass rush moveset, which we knew coming out. But that huge 3rd down pressure to force an incompletion was good, and I'll give you another one. Calais Campbell led all players with 6 quarterback pressures versus the Patriots today. Chop Robinson and Manuel Ogba each had 5. Chop Robinson had 5 pressures today, people. You're seeing it's coming, man. It's coming with Chop. Now, the problem is he is a legitimate liability against the run, which he was in at Penn State. He still is. So, so, and Ogba, again, thank God Shaq Barrett retired. Who knows what we'd be getting from that guy with his heart and passion not in this. Ogba's out here. They didn't even want to bring Ogba back. Remember, they didn't even want to bring him back. And then Shaq dipped on them and Ogba was willing to play ball. Thank God Ogba was willing to play ball because Ogba has been fantastic this year. Tackling is still an issue for this team. You're seeing it behind the line of scrimmage. You see it a few yards beyond the line of scrimmage. There's plays that should be either stopped for a minimum game, or there's plays that should be stopped for a loss, and we continuously whiff. This is something we've been seeing for years in Miami. It was ugly. I'll take it. Changes. This is where we come into now. A few things. Number one, let's have a real conversation. Let's have a real conversation right now. All right. Is this just delaying the inevitable? Listen, I wanted this W today more than anyone. Of course, who wants to sit there knowing you're going to lose? We all sat through the tanking season. I don't want to tank. We tanked last time and didn't work right. All right. So I have no desire to tank. Now, if we end up with the first, with a top 5 or top 10 draft pick, Greer's got to go because I don't want his regime making the pick. That all that aside, you know, who wants to go through the rest of the season watching their team be uncompetitive? Not me. And that's what was my big frustration with the last 3 losses. We weren't even competitive. Today, if we would have lost at the end, hey, we could have said competitive, but it's because they were so bad. But is this just delaying the inevitable? Is that all we're doing? Because did everyone... Guys, we got the Colts next, all right? Did anyone see Flacco today? Flacco threw for like 359 yards today, okay? Now, they lost, but they also put up 34 points. But Joe Flacco was 33 of 44, 3 touchdowns, 359 yards today. Nothing to shake a stick at. Do we have an offense that could keep up with that kind of yardage right now? Even last week when they beat Pittsburgh, 16 of 26, 168, but 2 touchdowns. Huntley hasn't even thrown a touchdown yet. He's ran for 1, but hasn't even thrown for 1 yet. Flacco's thrown for 5 over 2 games. And they're competitive. So are we going to be right back in the doom and gloom seat in 2 weeks? Maybe. I mean, let's enjoy right now. It's the bye. But this kind of leads me to my next little take here. Did we finally see Mike McDaniel making adjustments? Did we finally see, not all of it, but a little of what we've been waiting for with Mike McDaniel? Look at his dedication to the run. Remember, at one point, we had thrown the ball. We had dropped Huntley back 25 times and ran the ball 21 times. Right? At one point in the second half. By the end of it, where it all landed, we ran the ball 41 times and we dropped him back 34 times in terms of Huntley. Oh my God, did we see growth in Mike McDaniel today? Did we see growth in Mike McDaniel today? He leaned on Jaelan. He leaned on Raheem. But what's funny, what did I say would happen? What did I not? I got to be a man of my word. I said, if this guy waits for Raheem Mostert to come back and then starts leaning on the run game, I'm going to be pissed off because he had Jaelan Wright and Achane the whole time on the 3-game losing streak. I literally said, if this guy starts leaning on the run game when Raheem Mostert gets back, I'm going to lose my mind. That's exactly what I said. You waited for your buddy to come back. You had Wright the whole time. Wright's your best downhill runner. He's the guy built best to be a 3-down bell cow back right now. His vision that he's shown since his first carry has been phenomenal. It's like what we saw with Achane last year. Why are you waiting to take the training wheels off, Mike? Let Jaelan roll. Now, I said, because we didn't know Raheem would be playing this weekend, what did I say in my keys to victory? I said Wright and Achane need 40 touches. They gave that backfield running the football, Mostert, Jalen Wright and Devon Achane accounted for 35. Raheem Mostert got 2 catches, so that's 37. Devon Achane had 1 catch, so that's 38. So they manufactured 38 touches for their running backs today, and voila. Like, you need to ride Jalen Wright. I'm sorry. You know, like you were trying to get that first down when we got the ball back with like a minute left. Brother, I'm not giving it to Raheem. And if I do, I'll give Raheem 1 carry. I'll give Jaelan 1 carry. I'll switch it up. Jaelan's seeing the game right now. This kid's a rookie and the game already looks like he's seeing the game really well and it's slowing down for him. I hesitated, but I got to say it. The game already looks like it's slowing down for Jaelan. You see it. He's smart. He follows his lead blocks. He sees the holes before they develop. And he'll even cut back into them. And then he's got that burst once he hits them. You see, guys, how often is he a tank to try to take down as he's just steamrolling? You gotta ride with Jalen Wright, man. That's what's frustrating. You waited for Raheem to come back to give all these touches to the backfield, Mike. Come on, kid. You had all these guys in the building already. Yes, Raheem was good today, 110%. But you should have been riding. You should have never let Chris Brooks go. But you should have been riding Wright and Achane even more. You should have been riding them even more, man. Especially when you lost Tua. That's how you're going to open up those middle of the field and those quick throws for Huntley. Run the football. So, you know, come on, man. Show some dedication. Now, again, Mike McDaniel seemed to have shown some growth and adjusted the way we wanted him to. I really hope he learned from that touchdown drive because that's the recipe, that's the formula, that's the blueprint with Tua out. Right there. You've spent all these resources on Achane and Wright alone the last 2 years. You traded up for Wright. You spent a 3rd round pick on Achane. Invest in them the same way I see you investing in Liam Eichenberg. Let these guys strap the rocket to their back and roll with them. That's what you got to do, man. Like, and just shout out to Jalen Wright, man. That guy was just, he could, if you would have given him enough touches today, if you would have given Jalen Wright, you know, he only got 13 carries. If you would have given him 20 carries today, he's easily reaching 200 yards. Sorry, easily reaching 100 yards. Might even crack 110. Just saying. And if you wouldn't have had that Julian Hill penalty negate his 33-yard run, he would have cracked 100 yards on 13 carries. His long would have been 33 yards or 35 yards instead of 17. He would have had 15 extra yards. Oh, sorry, 19 extra yards. I apologize. He would have had 105 yards. So, and shout out to Alec Ingold on that drive. Alec Ingold has had his ups and downs, at the beginning of this season. Alec Ingold was very strong on that drive. Eichenberg was strong on that drive. That team came together. And, shout out to, hey, that defense continues to keep us in it. That defense continues to keep us in every game and give us a shot. Even when our offense continuously shoots itself in the foot. So, I'm here for it, baby. I am here for it. Mike McDaniel showing some growth and adjusting. Let's just hope, like I said, let's hope this is not just this win just isn't delaying the inevitable. And it's just a Band-Aid solution for now in the bye week, and then we're right back to square one against the Colts. Because that'll be very, very deflating. Very deflating. Now, here's what McDaniel said to the team after the win in the locker room. We did this the last time they won when Jacksonville. It's just been so long, people have forgot. But this is what went down in the locker room.
That win is about us, fellas. Yeah. That win was a month long coming, okay? And there was trials and tribulations that was baiting you to fall into the trap, okay? Baiting you. That took 60 minutes of team effort. No one blinked. We stayed together. We'll build momentum towards where we're trying to go, continue that growth that we experienced this week. It was a hell of a week.
It feel good to win, bro. That was a team win, bro. I'm going to tell you right now, the tide is turning. The tide is turning. We go into this bye week. We do not relax. Got to stack wins, baby. Let's go. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you better start stacking the wins and stacking them fast. I mean, if you can go out and beat the Colts and Tua is back for Arizona at 3-3, we might have a chance here. Now, we would have missed on potentially 2 extra wins in that stretch if we would have had our starting quarterback. But got to get it together, man. Got to get it together, and we got to get it together quick. So today was a step in the right direction. Wish they would have taken business against Carolina. I mean, this is a harder win. I wish you would have taken care of business last week against Tennessee. I know I said Carolina, but I wish you would have taken care of business against Tennessee. You went against a division rival on the road and you took care of it. And you left points on the board. So let's hope, with a bye week and, essentially this week and another week to prepare, let's hope Huntley is even more comfortable than what we saw today, because now a couple balls sailed on him, but he was moving out of the pocket, making plays with his legs, making throws on the run. So, and I agree, Flaming Finn, we could really use Isaiah Wynn back for sure. 110%. 110%. Now, in case you didn't see today, I forgot to talk about this on the actual live reaction. In case you didn't have a chance to see today, it was announced in regards to Jaelan Phillips that it is going to be a full ACL reconstruction. And if all goes well, he has a chance to play next year. Thanks, Jordan Poyer. Let me say this too. Marcus May needs to continue to start over Poyer. Marcus May was not only our leading tackler today, but you felt him, right? You felt his involvement. With Poyer, yeah, I felt his involvement when he took Jaelan Phillips out. So, again, that's another signing where you need to admit your fault, cut your losses, have him as a backup, and not expect anything more. But Jaelan Phillips, he is done for the year, and it's a full ACL reconstruction. Now, Jevon Holland. Here's the deal. We got an update. Dolphins lose safety Jevon Holland to a hand injury. The Miami Dolphins seem to be running out of safeties for the second straight season. Jevon Holland, a 4-year starter for the Dolphins, left Sunday's 15-10 win against the Patriots in the fourth quarter because of a hand injury he sustained. The Dolphins starter was replaced by Elijah Campbell. And if you go back and watch that Jalen Poke almost interception, guys, that was on Elijah Campbell. So he started a handful of games last season as Holland's replacement when the 4-year starter was sidelined by knee injuries. It's possible that Holland broke a bone in his hand because he was ruled out. And if that's the case, the Dolphins might be forced to play without the 2021 second-round pick for a couple of weeks because playing safety with a hand in a cast is not ideal. His left hand, here you go, his left hand was in a cast after the game, and there was a discussion among him and his teammates that surgery might be needed. It can be done, but wouldn't be advantageous from a tackling and turnover standpoint, I believe he means there. The good thing is that the Dolphins have a bye week next week, which should allow Holland's hand time to heal. Miami was already playing without Jordan Poyer, who sustained a shin injury in last week's loss to the Tennessee Titans. Marcus May replaced Poyer as the Dolphins starting strong safety, starting a 78th NFL game, and led the team with 9 tackles. Outside of Campbell, the Dolphins have Nick Needham and rookie Jordan Colbert on the practice squad. Needham was elevated to the game day roster on Sunday and contributed mainly on special teams. Last season, the Dolphins had a steady rotation of injuries to safeties, which includes Holland, who was sidelined or limited for 8 games because of a double knee injury he suffered in Miami's Black Friday win against the New York Jets. So there you go. Jevon Holland, already in a cast, already rumblings about surgery. You know, like Omar pointed out, hopefully he can make the most of this upcoming bye week and, you know, get that surgery ASAP so he can be back as soon as possible. But, you know, I advocate for Marcus May over Poyer. The problem is the options behind and replacing a player like Jevon Holland are not as strong. So, you know, that's just my opinion. You know, Jordan Colbert, not really a experienced starter by any stretch of the imagination. Elijah Campbell almost let up the game-winning touchdown to Jaelan Polk in the back of the end zone. So, you know, got to be careful. Got to be careful for sure. It sucks. It sucks because we're getting real thin back there. Real thin back there. Continuing on, I got about 9 minutes from McDaniel's presser I want to talk about. So let's go over it. Let's go over what McDaniel had to say in regards to his presser today. So he's being asked about Moser and Wright clearing 80 rushing yards today, and if that was the plan throughout the week to be ground heavy.
Yeah, I think you know, we had been disappointed with you know, what we've produced on the ground just in general. So it was a huge point of emphasis to really hone in on our fundamentals and technique. And to the credit of the offensive line, they punched some holes, and I think the running back room was ready to you know, put the team on their back, so to speak. You know, I think.
And thank God you let it happen, Mike.
Running back was awesome. It was unfortunate to lose Jevon for sure, and then you saw a rookie, you know, play some snaps where he you can feel his confidence just being established. So it was the plan was to be able to go toe to toe and win any way you need to, and I think that was the main objective and the led by the captains, and you know, I think they did a really phenomenal job of keeping everyone's headspace correct, and it was very fitting that, you know, one of our newly minted captains this year, Alec Ingold, scored the touchdown because he was a heavy part of the run game production this week for sure. Yeah, I think that when I say the game we're looking for, we're not looking to be frustrated, but you know, you have some frustrating points during the course of the game and nobody cares, and so then you have a 17-play drive to get your first touchdown of the day. That's something that, you know, I think when you're talking about your football team and the types of games you want to win, you know, that's
he's going to get asked about special teams next, so just wait.
You know, November, December football.
Exactly, Mike. You got to be physical.
Certain weeks you got to strap up and be able to win the line of scrimmage, and do it down in, down out. So I think that's a huge piece of the puzzle to me that you know, we weren't measured in our words to each other in team settings this week. We challenged each other to be able win a game like that just in general, and not have to have super explosive plays to win a football game. And I think that's what I'm really proud of, is that I know what it takes for our team in particular that has high ambitions to put together a 17-play drive at the end of the game. And that means you're staying locked in regardless of result during the course of it. So that's something we can build upon as we clean up.
Here we go.
The layers of things we have.
He's about to be asked about special teams.
Yeah, very critically. I think.
Ooh, very critically.
You have to assess the common denominators.
Danny Crossman.
The thing I was proud of is you have several things that don't go your way. You hit a post and you have a snap that you wish you could have back, but I think we were able to get several very crucial points after that. So the resolve, you don't want to have to test your resolve every week, but that was an important piece. And then you give up a blocked punt, but then had complete faith that would get corrected and that would be able, with the game on the line, to get New England to burn their timeouts and trotted that same unit back out there. So those are things to build upon, and they're much easier to do in the win column. I think that gives you the opportunity to really assess the common denominator.
Stop making excuses, brother. I got the common denominator. His name's Danny Crossman.
Penalties come, from particularly offensively and really in all three phases. Sometimes penalties can occur because people are trying too hard to own the responsibility, and they're leveraged or edged, and then you hold, or you or you're all three phases of that same thing can occur. So I'm careful or judicious with looking at like full sail. It has to be better to continue to win football games, and so you have to find some resolution, and that will come through collective study and effort by our coaching staff, and then applied to the players as we do across the board.
That's a really long-winded answer, brother. Asking for updates about Achane and Holland.
Just coming off the field, we'll be evaluating those in the next couple days. I do know that Jevon was out with a head injury that I believe to be a concussion, so he'll be in the protocol, and then we'll check out what the extent of that is, which fortunately we have a bye week, so we have some time to figure that stuff out.
What does this bye week mean for Tyler Huntley's development in the offense, basically?
You're playing catch-up the whole time that you're playing football, and you're knowing your responsibilities, you're knowing what the past concepts are, and now you have a chance to study, really the strengths and weaknesses of certain things for him to play convicted. I think it's going to be huge for him. Just to have things settle down, because you don't really have time for much when you're just jumping in the NFL work week. You have to orchestrate a lot of moving parts, and I thought
he did look much more comfortable this week
handling all that. He's done a phenomenal job.
Gives me hope he'll look even more comfortable in 2 weeks.
A step forward today.
Yeah,
sure.
I agree with that. They're asking about now the botched snap from Brewer to him.
So that, we were executing a no huddle play. And
Not the Blake Ferguson one, the Brewer one that cost us a field goal
and
as well.
To the offensive line what the play was, and then after he did that, he was communicating to the Z receiver, and Brew thought he heard the cadence, so he, which Snoop hadn't given any sort of indicator of a cadence, but he thought he heard one, so he snapped it, which is why it was a gigantic negative, moving the ball pretty well, but it was one of the 3 drives in the first half that you felt like you should have points in some way, shape, or form on that drive, hoping to convert and get in the red zone and score a touchdown. So that was part of the things that we got in our own way, which is why it's that you can clean those up all day, but for our team, we needed to find a way to win a football game, with that adversity right in our face, which is what I was happy about.
There's that word again, adversity right in their face. Listen, I don't need the coach speak, Mike, okay? You're asked about it being a mixed bag with special teams today. Marcel Louis-Jacques dropped. It said there's been 11 penalties now. How will it be evaluated? You said very critically. If you're very critically evaluating that unit, brother, then Danny Crossman needs to go. You talk about looking for common denominators. What's the common denominator as players have come and go on this team and on this roster and have been using special teams and not using special teams? It's been Danny Crossman. Danny Crossman is the common denominator, sir. As this continues, Anthony Weaver looks like the only one absolved of any blame the last 5 weeks now. And yet he still can't be absolved because, again, that's another game where you're getting the ball ran down your throat, right? The New England Patriots had about 151 yards rushing on 19 carries today. They averaged 7.9 yards per carry. So we can't absolve you too much. So, again, we ran into Waddle dropping some passes today. Again, some gimme throws from Snoop that were missed because they were poorly placed. You had the offensive line have an up and down day. Like I said, if it wasn't for that touchdown drive, Liam Eichenberg would have been labeled as having an awful day today for sure. Austin Jackson was not good today either. Now, I hope Mike McDaniel had real growth from this. His ability to lean on the run game and hand the ball off 41 times today showed some growth. But, back to what he was talking about, we finally saw physical presence running the football. Right? We finally saw a physical presence. And I do agree that a bye week, Tyler Huntley looked night and day from last week. Now, he still threw the interception, and we got to clean that up. But he did look night and day in terms of commanding this offense, operating this offense, making more throws, trusting his reads a little more. I liked what I saw from Tyler Huntley this week. It gives me hope that if you get, we're not going to see him for another 2 weeks now, right? And that's another 2 weeks of continuing to build to the players in the room. Hey, we saw Tyreek and Waddle get involved more this week. John, who had his best game as a Miami Dolphin, not only maybe do their targets or roles increase with Huntley, but maybe now we see OBJ getting settled in today. He was on a snap count today, right? But maybe we see OBJ get settled in a little bit here. And maybe OBJ can make some plays next week, because I know people are going to say, well, OBJ, he didn't really do anything, blah, 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 blah. Listen, he was on a snap count. So, there are definitely positives to take away from today. This team does have a lot of stuff to grow off of. You've established what we've been screaming at the heavens for you to do. If you run the ball, you can score points and win the game and make life a lot easier for whoever your backup is. Today it was Tyler Huntley. You made life a lot easier for Tyler Huntley today than you did last week. And again, you drafted Achane in the 3rd round. Now I know he's hurt, but he'll be back by the Colts game. You traded up for Jaelan Wright. Lean on your run game, with or without Raheem Mostert in the lineup. I called it from a mile away that they would lean on him more when Raheem came back, and thank God he did. So, you got to give Mike some props today. He looked like he made we saw 2 things from Mike today that we've been screaming to the heavens for. We saw adjusting the game plan, and we saw some growth. As a play caller, as a game planner, we saw some growth. We saw some adjustments from him today. We've been waiting to see it. So you got to call a spade a spade. Now, will we continue to see it? Because to be honest with you, establish this with Tua out. When Tua comes out, keep running the football. It's as simple as that, baby. Keep running the football. You want to open up that passing game and make it a little bit more explosive when Tua comes back? Run the football. And last week, we were all calling for a change needed to happen. I said, hey, listen, Mike, if you want to give up play calling duties, you know what to do. You need to turn around. You need to can Frank Smith, promote Darrell Bevell, and that's your way. This week, I'm saying Danny Crossman got to go, because Danny Crossman almost cost you that game. Bad enough you're shooting yourself in the foot offensively and almost costing yourself the game on offense. But now you got special teams doing its best impression of you even better in trying to cost you a game. And Danny Crossman's been this way for 3 years. Danny Crossman was like this under Flores too. The common denominator is Danny Crossman. Get this guy off the coaching staff. He was a holdover from when you came over with Josh Boyer. You already got rid of Josh Boyer. Danny Crossman's ass should have been on the way out. But y'all guys have been giving excuses because he's been saying, I've got special teams players injured. I haven't been able to blah, 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 blah. Every unit over the last couple of years has been dealing with injured players. But we keep on rolling on. So get his jabroni ass out of here. Get him out of here. Get him off my TV. Tony says, thank you, football gods. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Holy jeez. So, listen. I hope this wasn't too little too late, and I hope this wasn't just a blip in the radar and we go back to being uncompetitive and getting our ass handed back to us in 2 weeks. So, get Danny Crossman out of here. Get Julian Hill off my screen. And it's about time we saw some growth from Mike McDaniel. And just to clarify, because I see someone in the chat, I never I never actually I've been calling for Greer's job. I've not called for Mike McDaniel's job yet. I've said there's options. I've said you can either fire McDaniel and Frank Smith and promote Bevel and Weaver, or you can have Mike McDaniel fire Frank Smith and elevate Darrell Bevel and hand over play calling duties, or now you can have him send another message that not being good will not be tolerated, and you can have him finally fire Danny Crossman. So, okay, I see you said, Josh said not you reason. I was just clarifying. I'll make that clear anyways. Whether you said something or not, I'll make it clear anyways. I haven't called for McDaniel. I've called for Greer. And I've said we've got options. We got to send a message. So, and listen, even though we won, I'd still fire Danny Crossman and still send a message that we're in a position where we can't tolerate incompetence that could cost us games. So I'd still send a message. Anyways, appreciate all y'all for coming through. I am going to be live tomorrow. We'll be back at it. So I'll see all of you tomorrow for the full recap show. Until then, enjoy Sunday Night Football. You already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. I love each and every one of you. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy, everyone. Fins win.